Got yourself a little incarcerated, didn't you?
Get the key.
Let them go and tell on themselves. Yeah, tell on themselves. Yeah, that is. You walk yourself right in the goddamn jail cell. You'll do an Otis on Andy Griffin. Remember, Otis just go lock his goddamn self up. See, that's what niggas do. When they get up here and get high on their shit,
Yeah.
and been smoke they shit and got all drunk. Yeah, all I do just sit back. I just press the record button. That's all I do. Listen to these niggas. Let them go and tell on themselves. Yeah, tell on themselves. Yeah, that is. You walk yourself right in the goddamn jail cell. You'll do an Otis on Andy Griffin. Remember, Otis just go lock his goddamn self up. See, that's what niggas do.
Yeah, that's what grown men do online every time we talk about jail. I'm like, nigga, go back.
I got you, boy. I got you on tape.
I'm going to get into what they said in another video. I wanted to use those sound bites because I think they're every bit relevant. I thought I would add that humor in, but it's also serious. The reason why I'm addressing this, I got a clip that came across my desk, as they say, and it was a gripe about recording, and it went something like this. Oh, this is so ridiculous. All they do is sit around YouTube waiting to record people so they can try to get them fired from their job. Well, listen, if you're on the receiving end, let's kind of think about this for a second. You're on the receiving end of harassment, false accusations, you're being called a child P, a child M, your family's being attacked. I'm speaking to the sensible side of life. Don't even try to get through to the other realm. You're never going to succeed. You have options to address the issue, or you can decide just to ignore it. It's up to you how you want to handle it. But it's very interesting how the aggressors and the abusers are the ones who seem to think they can dictate what you do with what they say, and they're talking about you. So they're crying and whining about this recording, but it seems to be fully justifiable, business as usual, getting into the actual Social Security system, whether it's someone who works there or someone who works there and passed the information on to someone else, drinking buddy, if you will, whatever the deal. Violating federal law is not a problem in the eyes of those who are crying and whining about, quote, recording, unquote, for the purposes of getting people fired from their jobs. Let me tell you something. If you are working, no matter how you're earning your money, whoever's going to pay you, you have to have some sort of agreement about what you're getting paid. You can tell whoever's paying you, listen, for the last 3 days, I worked and I earned $20,000. Please pay me. Are they not going to ask you for some sort of documentation that leads you to believe that you actually earned $20,000 in 3 days? Of course they're going to ask you. It's reasonable to assume they're going to ask you for documentation of what you're asserting. This is nothing but an attempt to intimidate people out of their rights. It was also the same approach used when the information was stolen from the Social Security Administration system directly. It was nothing but an attempt to intimidate people, to silence people, to stop people. I don't know who falls under that category who would ever consider not addressing harassment and threats and using the federal government data bank, Social Security specifically, to get in there to try to shut people up, to think that is okay. The only thing they can say about that at this point, there's a quick return on the karma. Imagine me sending Dumpsy information, and I was thinking of sending it to AFW, and I sent it to him, and had all this personal information and all of these plans that we have. We're going to just get Dumpsy. Oh, yeah, here's his Social Security. Here's all his earnings. And boy, we're going to hook him up. Oh, yeah. Can you imagine? That's exactly what happened. The mortal enemy received information from the perpetrator and the criminal behavior the perpetrator very clearly engaged in. That's what happened. So complaining about a freaking recording, you're damn right people are going to record. And it's like the King Kong Crazy situation. Oh, yes, King Kong Crazy was through the roof. Worse than he was last Christmas. Do you remember how he was going off last Christmas on Propane's live stream, and him and Remix was getting into, he was even more angry on the sneak panels. He was, oh God, spitting fire. So Smoke, he was waiting. He just was waiting at an opportunity. He was waiting for an opportunity to really get you, but it wasn't you. It was me. But listen to this. It wasn't even me either. I'm the transfer from me to you, but I got a transfer from somewhere else. There's no way in hell that he would ever be able to convince me of anything that justified that intensity of anger and rage. And he had it, and it was worse than you heard him at Christmas. It's just transposing. Those who did whatever to them, they're not accessible, or they're accessible, they're not giving them what they want in terms of, yes, I have wronged you, or right, you did this and you should have done it, and all these other things, validating whatever position they feel needed to be validated. It wasn't validated. So any reminder of that, that is my view, that he brought that up and put it on me. Then when you gave him an opportunity, he transposed onto you. It was never about you, and it really was never about me. That's it. And this is what we have going on here. Shit from other sources is being brought here, and they're unloading and trying to explain to the world how you have wronged them. No, we're not the ones that wronged them. See, that's why I don't internalize it. That's why all that name calling and that screaming and hollering, not internalized. Now, some people get so shocked and upset by it, totally engulfed. They've been dragged into, I'm not dragged into shit. That is your shit. You are pulling in here and trying to get me to internalize it. I'm just not going to do it. You can call me cold-blooded. You can call me mean. You can call me whatever. This is what you're going to get from me. This demeanor that I reserve specifically for evil, for demons. And yes, they are demons. Either they're demons or they're demons in disguise, DIDs. They pretend to be a certain way, or they appear to be a certain way for a certain period of time. Whatever they decide ignites the past. They bring it forth, and now you're responsible for it. Nope, I don't accept it. So call me any cold-blooded. Yes, I am cold-blooded. I'm not going to bestow all of my positivity on people who are hell-bent on demonstrating what they are and what they likely have always been. Plain evil. It is evil. I believe it. I'm with Martin Luther King. Yes, humans have the great capacity of good and the great potential for evil. I recognize that in those who it applies to. I never think everybody is evil. I don't think most people are evil, but I know there are evil people. And I really believe it's in utero. I firmly believe that. And no one's moving me off that. I've seen it. I have seen the evil incarnate. It's called the devil's spawn. Nobody's going to convince me otherwise because I've seen evidence of it. You see it in and around the Umar Johnson sector. Whatever you want to call it. No, it's no mental ill. No. No, there are subjects out there. Don't be blaming no mental health disorders or die. No, it's plain evil. They find there's nothing there. It exists, and you are experiencing it, but you do not need to internalize it. And I'm not going to internalize it. Is it illegal for KKC to run a sneak panel and talk shit about us? No. It's not illegal. It's perfectly legal. There's nothing illegal about it. It was foul and disgusting and low down and dirty. But there's nothing illegal. There's also nothing illegal about us talking about it. If something is legal, even if something is illegal, who's stopping anyone from talking about it? Are you a judge? And that you goes out to who's ever griping about this. Do you have the authority to silence people legally? You do not. You need to go get a restraining order or an injunction. And I'm telling you right now, none of this shit is going to fall under injunction. You're going to silence anybody. If someone's going to be silenced, it's those who access the Social Security system and those who receive the information and those who passed it around, all committing crimes. So if anyone's to be silenced through a court order, it would be you all. Your primaries, unindicted, and your co-conspirators, unindicted. It is the most insulting of all ploys, although it does work in segments of our community. You perpetrate a crime upon someone and you try to guilt them out of getting justice. Now, that justice, however someone decides is justice, I mean, that's up to them. I choose to use this method of making it known. There are other situations. You see Money Loc is up here making it known. I'm not dealing with you fools. But if you really want to get down, we'll really do that. We're not playing around. So it depends on who you're dealing with. Know who you're dealing with. But then again, there are some things, they're so hard-headed. They're so hell-bent. They're so angry. They're so filled with rage that they're trying to hold you responsible for all the preceding harm that came to them. And they want to make you think you're responsible for the pre-existing bullshit. It so reminds me of the Attorney General. Kane is the last name. I'm going to have to find the photo and put it up. Kane, I don't remember her first name. Former Attorney General of Pennsylvania who went straight street hood up in the Attorney General's office. And why did she do that? She was so convinced, she was hell-bent on believing one of the attorneys had, quote, ratted on her / accused her of covering up something about the toll charges. And she sent these other attorneys after him to spy on him, all this retaliation, and it was horrible. And then while they were looking through all his stuff, they found judges and attorneys were exchanging porn. He wasn't one of them. But she's up here thinking this attorney had done her in, and he didn't. It wasn't even him. So they find all this stuff about the attorneys and the judges, and somebody told. It wasn't him. She thinks it's him because somehow somebody told. She was hell-bent on targeting this attorney and trying to hold him responsible. And then something came up about he did something with the election and she got elected, and he tried to stop her from getting into office. It was, people, it's a lot like what you're seeing here. And what ended up happening, she got arrested and charged with all of these crimes, including retaliation, because she thought he had reported her. He wasn't the one. So they were still treating it as if he did report her, but he wasn't the one that turned her in. And then perjury and all this stuff, she got disbarred. Going street rogue up in the Attorney General's office. And she got out and then didn't abide by the term. See, this is not something that happens because of her thinking this attorney did this to her. This is shit from way back. It doesn't matter. I'm sick of hearing about degrees and education. Those with degrees and educations are the ones acting the fool, the worst. And you know what gender I'm talking about. I don't need to say it. They're exhibiting the worst behavior in and around the Umar Johnson sector. And so don't tell me about no degrees. This attorney went and got her ass disbarred because she was thinking this attorney was turning her in and doing all this crap to her, and she had these attorneys acting hood. It was absolutely unreal. It's all about her perception, how she was being treated, and it was false. This can't possibly be present day shit. Nobody's exempt. You throw all logic, you throw all reason out the window because you are targeting a specific person. Again, I ask the question, doesn't it sound familiar? To me, it certainly does. You know what? I got a lot of things I'm going to be saying about what's been going on, but I'm going to put that in another video, and I'm going to follow up on what Smoke and Kip were talking about because it has a lot to do with these freaks up here, these DIDs, and these actual full regalia demons not having any content. And I said I'm going to help out with that, and I'm going to hold to that. In the meantime, you know the drill. Buyer beware.